The best resource that I'm going to share with you in this course is this right here. This is the KenPom.com ratings for college basketball teams. And this is an amazing tool that I found last year, or maybe 2 years ago. And it's really interesting stuff. It uses a lot of math and formulas to figure out who are the most efficient teams in college basketball over the course of the regular season. And it's really interesting because a lot of times I've been going back and I've seen like the last like 10 years of his ratings. The best two teams on his ratings, one of them winds up being the champion for the entire tournament. So it kind of just shows like beyond the hype, beyond all of like you know, the media talking about what teams are the best teams, like who's actually getting the job done, who's really the most efficient uh, in college basketball. Obviously, if they're ranked one or two, they're probably really good teams to begin with. But you'd be surprised about some of the teams down in the top 20 or the top 30. Sometimes you'll find an upset alert just because they're ranked really low, as in like 11 seed, like Texas right here. They're an 11 seed in the tournament, which is like not that great of a ranking, but they're top 20 in his rankings for Ken Palm. So I see that as like immediately as soon as I see Texas in this bracket over here, I'm gonna be like, I gotta pick them because unless they're playing somebody who's like a peer in this ranking, then it's probably gonna be an upset alert right there, potentially, or maybe even like Wichita State 7 seed, Michigan State 7 seed. I mean, these teams, I mean, they're top 6 or 7 teams on here that are all 1 and 2 seeds anyway. But you can find some upset alerts in here. For example, last year, let me see if it pops right up. Okay, it might not have been last year, it might have been 2 years ago. Okay. I'm not finding what I'm looking for, but there was a team, I believe it was Tennessee. Oh, here we go. Yeah, it's even higher than I thought. Tennessee was 7 on his rankings, and they were an 11 seed. So it was almost like I looked at it twice, like really, like I don't even want to pick Tennessee because it just seems such like a weird ranking. But lo and behold, Tennessee wound up having this huge upset, or maybe 2 or 3 really big wins in the tournament last year. And I was like, wow, like if I would have just followed this formula from Ken Palm, I probably would have had them. But I didn't because I was just like kind of like second guessing myself. At the same time, you don't want to just follow these formulas to a T because I did it last year. I picked like Pittsburgh and they lost in the first round, and I picked like some other teams where they just lost right away. But it's really interesting to look at, and it's some sort of insider information, just to get beyond the hype. If you really want to get deep into the stats and like look at like what teams are really doing an efficient job of winning games, then it's really cool to look at, and especially if you love stats like I kind of do. This year, I'm trying to not be too much into it and just pick and just have fun. But a couple of years in the past, I've gotten really into it. The other resource, of course, is to just click on the blurbs of the websites, and they will show you a lot of stuff. But it's similar to when you go to a roulette table in like a casino, and they have that little like board that shows you all the old numbers that just came out, and they kind of like get into your head, like, oh man, there was like 7 reds in a row. I should have picked red. Or somebody says the opposite, like, oh, I gotta pick black because like red's definitely not coming out again. So they tell you this stuff, but like it's almost like groupthink. It's like, oh well, I'm crazy if I don't pick Villanova. But at the end of the day, like you have to look at this stuff. I mean, look at this stuff if you want to. It'll show you a little bit more inside information about each team, like what are their strengths, what are their weaknesses. But if you combine these two, this plus the Ken Palm, then you can really get a little bit more deeper analysis into the teams and the matchups, and it makes it all the more fun to watch because like you kind of have a little bit more information about what to look for. So it's just an awesome.